I was born a free man, lived with my family in New York,
Be good for your mother.
until the day I was deceived,
To Solomon.
kidnapped, sold into slavery.
This was a brilliant, very profound film that I'll certainly remember for a long time. Partly because it taught me a few things about slavery that I didn't know already, and it encouraged me to read the book. I was wondering, in the process of making the film, did you learn anything new about slavery that you didn't know before?
Not really, no. But the thing that actually was the thing that for me was very important was Solomon Northup, his story that I didn't know before. And I was sort of upset with myself when I first finished reading the book, because I didn't understand why I didn't know this guy's story. But then I realized that no one I knew his story. And then the book became my passion to adapt into a film.
What were you looking for in the lead actor, the man you wanted to play Solomon?
Well, Chiwetel Ejiofor was the only man for me who could play this role. There's a certain kind of stature, a certain kind of presence he has, and a certain kind of humanity that I needed in the environment that he had to go through, because he had to go through and travel through an environment which had no humanity, which was actually inhumane. So he was my, there could only be one actor playing this role, which is Chiwetel.
What do you think was the most incredible thing about Solomon, the real man? I found it quite amazing that he was able to, after the terrible ordeal, that he was able to analyse almost objectively what had happened to him over that period of time. What was it for you?
Well, I think exactly that he can analyse objectively, hold on to his faith in humanity, never get bitter, understand his surroundings. That was miraculous to me, because if he had that sort of hate in him, he could have never come out on the other side in a way that sort of would have been healthy, and in a way that I don't think he could have written that book. So that was hugely inspiring to me.
Well, boy, how you feel now?
My name is Solomon Northup. I'm a free man, and you have no right whatsoever to detain me.
You're no free man. You're nothing but a Georgia runaway.
You mentioned that he was born a free man, then he was kidnapped, sold into slavery, and then became free again in the end. Was that a significant part of the story? Because it's different to a lot of stories we hear, certainly in the movie industry, about slavery.
Well, significant part of the story, absolutely, but it's a truth. I mean, 10% of the African American population lived free in the North. The story of an African being, taken from Africa to America, for me, had been told in a very powerful and effective way through Roots. I wanted to deal with the whole idea of dealing with a Native American, as such, who had been, gone through that same ordeal.
How impressed were you? You said he was the only man for the job. How impressed were you with Chiwetel's performance in the end? Very,
very impressive. Very impressive. I mean, he held on to something which was prodded, which was being sort of one was trying to take it away from him, but he held on to it. It's like holding on to that ball in rugby. He wouldn't let it go, and he wouldn't let go of his humanity, which is wonderful. Some
of the characters, particularly those who own the plantations, are incredibly complex. I thought Benedict Cumberbatch's character was, it's hard to describe, I guess, not pure evil. I think Solomon in real life, in his book, found it sort of, if he was born in different circumstances, he may have been a more acceptable person. How do you tell that story on screen in the relatively short time that Benedict Cumberbatch is on screen? Well, I think you tell the story. The truth is the fact of the matter is that I think he was the worst one of them all, as far as the slave owner is concerned, because he is saying one thing but doing another. He doesn't he knows Solomon is a free man, but what does he do? Nothing.
I will survive. I will not fall into despair. I will keep myself hardy till freedom is opportune.